Let me just check the number. 46.
I'm just gonna stick to the one that I'm familiar with then.
46,
On
49.
your helmet, please. What's your name? Andab, right?
Yeah.
But I think if it's a winter time, I'll start first. Oh, so it's also out. Way faster and 11.
Sayyid Zafar, 46.
So guys, please.
Yep, let's go.
Guys, should be the last cars, yeah?
46?
46 has to be there. Say who took 46? Who took 46?
What is the maybe running on the track? I think so. I don't know.
How come
Maybe,
running
no. No, son.
Come.
So you'll change it inside, yeah? Sayyid Zafar. More space.
More space?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is fine. Thank you. Yeah. this list. Yes.
put me in the wall.
It was so exhausting. I was about to crash out.
Today I had the front seat behind Abdullah.
What? Who was chasing you the whole time? You were the wheel.
No,
I thought it was the wheel.
I was chasing you.
And how many times? Wait. How many times did you play dirty with me?
Dude, I
didn't do anything except you. If you had to go, I thought the wheel was there. I was like, he has a GoPro. Check the lines that I had in the non-collision times. Or if you check that, did I deviate from those lines or am I taking this example?
Yes.
You don't have the, you
I was behind you.
You were overshoot to get the inside line. But that doesn't mean it's yours.
No, I would go outside and then go inside. However, the problem is, the reason I would kind of hit you is when shoot on the turtle, I was behind you, you will brake earlier than I would. So when I brake, by the time I brake already, I'm at you.
No,
But
I'll tell you what it
what's
is.
here?
In the inside of it, we had differences because I was targeting a late apex, you were targeting, I was targeting the late apex, you were targeting late apex. Therefore you were breaking late. Problem was, I would take the racing line after the turn and you would end up in the same place.
So whenever that shit happened, I would brake to let you pass. But the thing is, by the time I let you pass, I'm still already in the braking thing, which is why I ended up hitting you a few times.
So many times.
It was accidental. Then I was mad. I was like,
What was our timing?
33.04.
And mine?
This one.
I think you're fourth, and third.
33.8. What was your timing? 34?
But जो हर को दूसरी साइड के साथ you were driving normally and like was then your
I thought it was winning behind me.
I was behind you and then I went into the pit.
what happened?
My seating position was incorrect. I was having so much pressure in the first 3 laps on this because I was not braking all the time. So I didn't test it properly. So I came in, adjusted my seat. So the whole first 2 laps I was behind you. Then I came into the pit stop. Even the guy in the
In the beginning, everyone got so far behind you. Also, what happened? Is everyone taking time to
Towards them, I would say
For me, like the first
And then someone kept gaming on me. I thought that was the wheel. I think it was fact that was you.
For me, like I think like after 3 laps, a car stopped
Hassan was just
working.
moving aside. He was like an NPC. He sees us coming from here and he move on aside.
Yeah,
What was that? Huh?
That was
That was one skip as well.
so. Why were you doing that?
Because he had a GoPro on as well.
Oh, maybe it was not a GoPro thing. I think
But I thought you were chasing me. So that must have
I was
been
running late.
Okay, then I was behind you.
I think so. Like my car stopped accelerating. So
I was going to
I think your head is done. I would go biryani 1-1 then, huh?
I would say that last time we raced in
But they didn't let me go.
I was going to defend myself and everything. This time I was attacking the entire time. He was ahead of me.
I was just thinking to myself, if this guy thinks he's faster than me,
Yeah.
why doesn't he just slow down and let me go? But I was like, since he wants to play the attack game, I'll also play it. I knew that you were braking late. So I knew where your line was going to be. Even if I was coming mid, right?
Yeah.
Because you were braking late, you would end up either on the inside or, mostly on the inside only you would end up. So even when I was in a mid line, I'd come back to the out. But anyways, I had to come back to the out because the next turn would be.
But I think there were 2 or 3 times when I was side by side next to you, and I was like, okay, this is now my line. I can go ahead.
This was not your line though.
No, but the thing is,
You were not. So what you would do?
So what happened? I was ahead of you, okay, and I was going in the corner. What you did was this.
No. I knew you were going to say this, which is why I wanted to be clear. Okay, debate, okay? Just because someone overshoots the apex, right before the apex, right? You brake.
How do you overshoot before the apex?
Okay, sorry. No, what I meant is you both brake, one person braked later.
And there's a
Does
point
that give him
coming
the priority on the other line, or is it the person who's properly coming out and actually has a shot of getting there?
Not the same. The other person is now ahead.
So my line for the next one, I was just keeping that. The problem is you were getting squeezed in.
No.
I was in the right line to be able to hit the mid apex.
But that's the thing. You're behind me. You could see me
I
where
was
I
never behind you. We were side by
Then
side.
निकले हैं? नहीं.
He would just
exactly side by
overshoot.
side.
Or that, or he would overshoot me when I'm braking. Now he's ahead of me, but I know how to take the turn properly. I'm just taking my
No, but
line.
if he's ahead of, if he overshoots and he's still ahead of you, you have to go.
Yeah.
Then I have
You
to.
have to move. You can't take that, continue taking that line because he's already there on the inside. You have to avoid
yeah,
him.
I'm already over there. I'm in that corner and you just did
The
this.
problem is the reason why.
was I would have to brake to be able to
Imagine in
That's
this one,
exactly
this
the
one.
thing that
what would happen is after the turn, the road would be like this. So think about it as this. All I'm doing is I take my line. I gave him that way, but now I'm just going to take my own line. He's getting squeezed over here because now for the next one he has to brake even
But
earlier.
before that time, he overshot.
No, on the next turn I would overshoot.
So, yes. ये car,
I could
in the
think about
first,
it practically.
जो first turn का last turn basically, the last turn
कौन सी turn दो मुझे turn बता दो.
हाँ last turn जो थी, before the main straight, जो
अरे you दो आते हैं.
this was मैं हर
This was not before that. It was the turn before that.
मैं कह रहा हूँ last turn थी, जो last आपका ये था क्या कहते हैं उसको hairpin,
4-9.
जो last hairpin था, वो यहाँ से आ रहा है. मैंने यूं शूट किया है मुझे पता था कि वो यहाँ से यहाँ पे आएगा तो I did was I did a late effects in यहाँ पे आएगा तो towards the end you were right next to us.
No. जब turn कर रहे, was already on the inside. He was on the
No.
inside.
Think of it like this. ये आपका
You turn around.
He was gonna go from here to here to here. Okay. My thing was I'll go up and then come in.
Yes.
So at that point when he started accelerating, I'm already in the acceleration.
हाँ ठीक है. But what happened exactly?
अब देखा था कि वो यहाँ है क्या है और मैं यहाँ पे हूँ.
No, but you know why? Because coming out of the exit into the turn, you had more pace than me, which is why you overtook me.
Yeah.
I had more exit speed than you.
That's
Because you had to slam the brake because you were so late.
No.
So in the
So I
exit,
didn't-
I actually was faster.
What happened exactly?
So what
I
happened
didn't
was,
slam the brake. The reason I was faster is because I was already acceleration.
you know how Shurtas do it? You know what the Shurta logic is basically the way they pull traffic is? It's basically they calculate the impact. Where did the impact happen?
Yeah.
If you're faster than me, right?
Yeah.
You would have spun out like this, right? Because I'm hitting your bottom left. But what would end up happening is I would hit your front and you would get mushed over there. That means I'm fast.
No, think of it like this. हम लोग इस लेन में जा रहे हैं. दुल्ला देख.
Yeah.
छोड़ दे इसको. हम इधर जा रहे हैं. Okay. You have to come here to do this, right?
I would not.
Where did you
even
hit
if
him?
you're
Did you
ahead
hit
of me.
him?
Huh?
Did you hit
He
him?
hit me in the wall. Like कुछ होता है at this point. Wait.
Even
Hear me out.
even if you're ahead of me and I hit you in the wall,
Hear
you're
me
gonna
out.
spin out in
No,
front
hear
of
me
me.
out. I didn't say ahead of you like this. I said ahead of you just a little bit because I couldn't see your car when you were over next to me, but I knew that you were right next to me. अब हुआ क्या था? If I broke, then I would have picked the cover and you would have taken that turn. I didn't brake. You didn't brake. What happened was you were going to take this, but you would have taken outside as well.
How could he have taken outside from the inside, brother?
Huh?
Inside is outside.
I was
isn't
late.
it?
I'm saying that he had the entire track ahead of him as well. He could have done this. I only had this much area. He had this much area.
But look, if you had more pace than me, right, I would have hit the back of your head.
I didn't say I was
Listen,
ahead of
you
him.
have told me two different stories. In one story, Abdullah is on the inside. In one story, he's on the
No,
outside.
they're two different ones. I'm on the outside, he's on the inside.
Okay. And this, okay, in the first one, I think Abdullah was on the right. You can't just come into someone's line,
Yeah.
especially if he's on the inside.
I don't mean this line.
But you hit him right in that scene.
I didn't hit him.
You didn't hit him. What happened?
Yeah, I don't know how
You didn't hit him, so you went ahead of him.
ये आपका है लास्ट
Last time.
और ये इससे गाड़ी है और ये गाड़ी है अब मुझे पता था कि वो यहाँ से निकल के तो वो यूं जाएगा एंड देन वहाँ और डायरेक्ट बॉस मैं यहाँ निकल के स्ट्रेट आया ये देन मैं यहाँ पे आया
ठीक है, इस पॉइंट पे हुआ क्या? कुछ भी नहीं हुआ.
he came here I came here from here the line goes like this this line goes like this inside and then outside I knew it was going to come inside and I didn't want to brake so I just stayed like this till there and then he just hit me in the wall and then he just
Exactly. No. Hear me out. So here we go. No. So what's basically happening is,
Oh, it's really bad.
I'll tell you. He would always try and catch up. Now the thing was, I was managing my lines. I was sticking.
You're going
and he couldn't cover me. You know, it was impossible for me to cover me. So what would happen is, I'm coming here. This is my normal line. Okay. What he would do is to try and get me. Where did you get an enemy? Here, right? Yeah.
I was the last time before the.
How did he get ahead of me? He gets ahead of me by overshooting here. When I'm braking here, he'll start braking here. So even when he gets ahead of me, on the exit he's not faster.
Okay.
Because he's braking here.
Yeah.
He has to start again
Yeah.
from here.
Yes.
I think the smoother is starting with here. He's slow here.
Slow here, so.
I have to keep going around. I just manage my laps.
Yeah.
Now, if he overshoots, but I can have to keep it smushed over there. He's slower. He's slower than
I'm slower. Yeah, for sure.
If you were faster, but you would have crossed that bit.
Okay,
you would have
take
something like-
in our situation, who could have avoided the collision?
So why were you slower
Who could
on
have
the inside line?
Who could have avoided the collision?
No. If he's ahead
I'm already
and he's
inside.
overshooting, but you still have space on the white side, you have to take the white side.
Yeah, you have to take it because you can do this. कि मुझे मेल आया ना तुम अलार्म में क्यों आ रहा है? Or you could avoid the collision, go out and then overtake me afterwards.
No, so basically what would have happened in this and all these circumstances, what would have happened in all these circumstances, if you're a slower car, you would have been blue flagged, let the faster car pass. So this situation would not have even existed. Alright, the problem
Think of it
was
like
he was
if
in my racing lane.
एक मिनट, if there was a newbie, okay, on the track, and he was a very bad shit driver and stuff, and he was in the line, would you still hit him कि भाई मेरी line पे तुम क्यों आ रहे हो मेरी line के अंदर? Or would you
Absolutely, you are there, NBC Nikar.
So you were the one who hit me there, right? You two were racing and you guys hit me together at the
So
corner.
I had no clue. I didn't even see.
But it was good racing, man.
Very good racing.
You were so good at defending. I kept trying कि यार
I knew where you were. I always knew where you were. And I knew if you're the type that's going to break it, because I knew he was getting this.
The thing is,
When he gets
it's a lot.
desperate, he overshoots.
It's a
And
lot.
I know if he overshoots where he's going to be on the next turn.
there were always times when I could have easily overtaken you and hitting you side में लेकिन मुझे खुद था कि यार I don't want to hit you so badly that is not over. मुझे डर लगता था. It's a no.
Also, one of the things was even if you hesitate for a second, and next turn comes,
Yeah,
and
go for slow.
The thing is, see what all the hits that I did were minors. I didn't want to hit you so much that is not.
quite a
Yeah, but it was bumps like यहाँ मारो यहाँ वो यहाँ
bumps here, bumps there. I
That
almost spun out two times.
that was literally because I was like pressure डालूंगा वो कोई mistake करेगा.
There was a time I almost made a mistake because you hit me twice and I almost spun out and I went like this. My rear kind of slipped. And the next turn after that, I noticed I wasn't taking the aggressive line. And you started catching up. I was like, wait, forget about it. Focus on me. Then I gained pace on you.
The entire time so towards the end what happened was इसमें मारा था मुझे तो लगा यार I need to do my own lap as well.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, why doesn't he just do his own thing? Leave me alone, man.